Most people think I train to look good or hit certain numbers, but the truth is, the biggest benefit of fitness shows up in my marriage. Super excited to have you be tuning into the Hybrid Athlete Dad podcast. On today's episode, I'm going to be discussing why fitness makes me a better husband. Now, before I get into today's episode, I like to go over anything in my life when it comes to fitness, when it comes to nutrition, or just life in general that I think that you may find interesting, or just stories I like to share. I like to talk about aspects of running, of lifting, of nutrition, just anything that I think that you may find beneficial or inspirational. So Thursday, it was pretty good. It was pouring rain, and it was it was interesting because I'd ran last week, and if you tuned into last week's episode, I ended up having jury duty, and because of that, I could only run 2 miles on that Monday, and had to make up the difference the rest of the 28 between Tuesday and Friday. So it put me behind a little bit. Tuesday was cold in the morning when I went out and ran. I forget how much exactly the temperature was, maybe around 32 ish degrees. Maybe I even said it in the last episode, but somewhere around there. Then Thursday rolls around, and I need to get 5 miles of running in that day, or 5 miles left of running that day. And it was pouring rain. I wasn't going to look at the radar because I knew it was pretty much a 100% chance of rain the whole day. And I had the choice to make. Do I want to stay home? Or do I want to put in the effort, go out there and get this running? And I say it's interesting because when I ran Tuesday that week, it was a little chilly. Like I mentioned, probably about 32-ish degrees, so it was definitely a little cold. And then here comes Thursday, where the rain was about 45 in rain, which is definitely cold. But because it was about say 10 to 15 degrees warmer on Thursday than Tuesday running, I felt as though I'd be fine running in a t-shirt. So it's funny to me because it's all relative. Where if I was to run 45 degrees in rain in the summer, I'd be freezing. Where now I'm running 45 degrees and in the rain on a Thursday, but the previous Tuesday was a little bit colder, so now I feel comfortable. So got that running. Probably looked like a crazy person out there running in the rain, but did my loop, got my run in, and it was funny because I ended up running like an 8:15 pace maybe, that happened to be my fastest pace that week for those 5 miles, and went out there and enjoyed it. I mean, definitely had to come back and take a hot shower and enjoy that aspect of it, but I really don't like to make excuses unless there's something, whether it's sickness, like if I'm coughing up a ton of mucus and phlegm, I've learned that's not a good idea to keep running. If I'm just sick in general, and not a good idea to keep running, like if I have the flu or stomach bug, not a good idea to keep running. And if there's black ice on the ground, or if there's just too much snow and slush on the ground, which I have ran through, but it's just not enjoyable. At that point, not that I enjoy running in the rain, but it's just like I did a hard run today. I got it done. I did it in the rain where most people would probably stay inside. Yeah, I'm soaked, but you know what? I enjoyed it, and I pushed myself mentally because of it. And then it's funny. I know I keep saying that, but so I did the 8:15-ish pace on Thursday when it was pouring rain. Here comes Friday. I have to finish off the week 5 more miles, and end up going I think like a 7:50 pace, which was anytime I go under 8 minutes a mile is typically fast for me at this point, and end up hitting that 7:50 pace. And then just amazing how Friday's like my last run of the week. I've been running, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Up until that point, I ran 25 out of 30 miles. I have the 5 miles left on Friday. You think my legs would be sore, they would be tired, worked out in the morning. No problems at all. Ran the previous day in the rain. You'd think like that would have some sort of effect, but nothing at all. So enjoyed that running on Friday, and it wasn't so much running where it's like a flat course or downhill. It had a lot of hills on it. Really, the only day I like to do more of a flat course per se is on Mondays, just to get my legs back into it, get my mind back into it, and then the rest of the week I'll typically have some sort of hill variation in it. So that was last week running. Enjoyed that so far this week. Got the 5 miles done when I'm recording this episode. Ran at about, I think it was close to an 8:15 pace as well today, but it was more flat, so excited to get it done. Beautiful day of running. It was, I think, 44 degrees when I started running, 44 degrees and sunny, so a little bit chilly, but you get a mile in, shorts, t-shirt weather. It's absolutely amazing. I really do enjoy running this time of year. I really enjoy running in the spring. Winter can be a little bit tough. Summer can be a little bit tough, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop and just enjoy the season and where I'm at right now. Now, diving into today's episode, which again is why fitness makes me a better husband. And it's simple. If I could just say like one thing and end this episode on it, it would be that fitness isn't just physical. It changes how you show up at home. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, fitness improves my emotional patience. Hard workouts every day make the stress of life feel small. I was going to the gym this morning. I got up. I went and I did my 8 different exercises, 3 to 4 sets each, or about 3 sets each. And I started off doing bent over rows with the barbell and did 4 sets of that today because I hadn't done that exercise in 2 or 3 weeks and I wanted to get back into it. And it's stressful being at the gym, not in the sense like I'm trying to go through my workout as fast as possible, but just stress on the body. I find that it just allows me to be calm at home, and it just gives me a competitive advantage in my relationship because when I push myself physically, I'm not going to snap over the little things. I'm mentally in control of myself, and I find that just by going to the gym, I just, like any couple, there's going to be disagreements that arise from time to time. Instead of yelling at each other or getting mad, just dealing with it like an adult, I would say. And I find that just going to the gym just allows me to be more calm and in tune with myself when those situations may arise from time to time. Going to the gym and running gives me that energy to be more present. I find that working out helps me build my energy. It doesn't use it up. I mean, maybe if I'm running a marathon, but hey, I ran a marathon, I'm going to feel great. Maybe my body doesn't feel great, but my mind feels great. And I want to be present when with my wife and when I'm with my daughter because I want to be able to engage in conversations with her. After work, I want to have the energy that, okay, 5 o'clock comes and I'm shutting down my computer for the day, that I'm not just acting like a zombie the rest of the day. And I wanted to make it easier on my wife to help out with parenting tasks because I'm not wiped out. We have a two almost 2.5-year-old daughter at this point. We have another daughter on the way who's going to be born at the end of March. So now we're going to have 2, about 3 and a newborn, give or take a few months here or there. And there's a lot that goes on. If you have a 2-year-old and a toddler, she likes to go through everything. She likes to ask a lot of questions. She is quite the handful. Now, because of that, it's easy to get overwhelmed, especially if you're stressed, if you had a hard day at work. But I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be disassociating at work and trying to find a vice per se because I am wiped out, where I find that working out gives me that energy to feel great after work, even though I've been up for over 12 hours at that point. I can still help out around the house and I can still be the father that I want to be. Fitness it makes me feel more confident. Like when I went out in the rain and I ran the other day, I felt so confident. Like I can literally accomplish anything that I set my mind to. And having a better self-image of myself, it's just going to show up differently in my marriage. It changes my body language. It changes my tone. It changes how I lead. And just being a confident husband, hopefully you would agree, is better than being around than an insecure has been someone that's not confident in themselves. And for me, I find that just working out, going to the gym every day, going for a run about 5 days a week, it just allows me to build on that confidence and become a stronger person because of it. I want to make sure that I can take care of my wife in any situation that can arise. And same thing with my daughter. I want her to be proud of myself. Not that you want to marry someone for how they look, but I don't want to be 350 pounds and overweight and sitting in an airplane or in a car, and it's hard not to notice that. Just being frank, and I don't want to put her in that uncomfortable position. I want to be like, wow, like that woman's lucky because her husband works out and my husband per se doesn't. And not that you should judge someone whether or not they work out, but like, I don't know. I just I feel like I want her to be proud of myself in the way I am, and I find that just working out and running gives me that confidence. Fitness forces structure and discipline. It forces me to be disciplined within myself, and it forces me to be disciplined within the commitments of marriage. Not every day do I feel like I want to get up and go to the gym. Not every day do I feel like I want to get up and go for a run, but I do it every single day regardless. I'm disciplined. Okay, now work's over. Now my attention is being turned to my wife. I'm not going to be checking emails. I'm not going to be answering messages. I'm going to have all my attention on her. It builds through the consistency that you build in your workouts. It's just consistency and showing up for your wife. And knows that I know that I'm going to be dependable, that she can count on me, that I'm going to be there when she needs it. And the last lesson I want you to take away from today's episode is that fitness is a shared benefit, not just a solo pursuit. I'm not doing this to get away from my wife. I'm doing this for her and my family. I want to make sure that as I grow older, and I know I've talked about it on this podcast before, but my dad's almost 70. He's in great shape. And I see people that when I go out on these calls through our local volunteer ambulance service, and there's people that are early 60s that can't walk anymore, that are pretty much immobilized, that never had that problem until they retired, and you can tell they're just not in the best of shape. They just don't take care of their body. And this isn't trying to single anyone out, but I look at my dad and he takes care of his body, and I look at these other people that are just we're getting calls multiple times a week to the same residences for people that just can't get up, that are in their early 60s. And I think to myself, like, I don't want to put my wife and my family in that situation. And I'm obviously there to help that individual, but I think to myself, like, how can I make sure that I don't have to be this person that has to call for help because I can't walk when I'm 60 years old? Taking care of yourself is taking care of your wife and taking care of your daughter, taking care of my daughter. There's just so many benefits that come when it comes to going to the gym, when it comes to running. It's nice having a hobby on my own, something that I can partake in on my own, something that I can bring my wife to and she can see me in races and she can see the performance that I'm putting in, and something to discuss and to talk about. And just, I don't know where I'd be without fitness. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on why fitness makes me a better husband. And I hope you tune into next week's episode where I discuss what my daughter teaches me about balance.